The Mask We Wear, Hiding Behind Social Anxiety, written by Brené Brown. We've all been there. That knot in your stomach when you walk into a crowded room. The fear of saying the wrong thing, of being judged, of not being enough. For years, I wore my social anxiety like a mask, hiding my true self from the world. I longed for connection, yet I built walls of fear and insecurity around my heart. I was terrified of vulnerability, convinced that showing my true self would lead to rejection. The mask felt safe, familiar. It allowed me to blend in, to avoid the spotlight of scrutiny. But behind that facade, I was slowly suffocating. The weight of unspoken words, unexpressed emotions, and unfulfilled desires grew heavier each day. I knew something had to change. I yearned for a life where I could show up authentically, without the fear of judgment or rejection. Finding my voice, a journey to authentic expression. My journey towards vulnerability began with a whisper, a quiet longing to break free from the prison of my own making. I stumbled upon the concept of nonviolent communication, or NVC, a communication framework developed by psychologist Marshall Rosenberg. It promised a path towards more compassionate and authentic self-expression. Intrigued, I took a leap of faith. NVC resonated with me deeply. It wasn't about winning arguments or proving points. It was about connecting with others from a place of empathy and understanding. It was about expressing my truth with kindness and clarity, without resorting to blame or criticism. It was about listening with an open heart, seeking to understand rather than judge. Speaking from the heart, the power of nonviolent communication. NVC provided me with a framework, a language to articulate the emotions swirling within me. It taught me to identify my needs and values, the driving forces behind my actions and reactions. It gave me the courage to express my feelings honestly, without resorting to aggression or defensiveness. This wasn't about suppressing my emotions or pretending everything was okay. It was about acknowledging my feelings, owning them, and expressing them in a way that fostered connection rather than conflict. It was about speaking my truth with vulnerability and courage, knowing that my voice deserved to be heard. The bite of the jackal when honesty wounds. As I delved deeper into NVC, I encountered the concept of jackal and giraffe honesty. Jackal honesty, as the name suggests, is harsh, critical, and often laced with blame. It's the kind of honesty that leaves you feeling attacked, diminished, and unheard. Think of a time when someone criticized you with biting sarcasm or delivered a harsh truth without an ounce of empathy. It probably stung, leaving you feeling hurt and defensive. That's jackal honesty in action. It might feel good in the moment to unleash our anger or frustration, but it ultimately damages relationships and creates distance. The grace of the giraffe, compassionate truth-telling. Giraffe honesty, on the other hand, is rooted in compassion and understanding. It's about expressing our truth with kindness and empathy, holding space for the other person's experience. It's about speaking our needs without resorting to blame or judgment. Imagine someone approaching you with a concern, not with anger or accusation, but with genuine care and a desire to understand. They might say, "When you do specific action, I feel feeling because need." Would you be willing to request? This approach, while still expressing a difficult truth, is delivered with empathy and a desire to find a solution that works for everyone involved. Bridging the divide from judgment to understanding. The difference between jackal and giraffe honesty lies in our intention. Are we seeking to punish or blame, or are we approaching the conversation with a genuine desire to connect and understand? Are we speaking from a place of ego or a place of empathy? Choosing giraffe honesty isn't about suppressing our feelings or sugarcoating the truth. It's about shifting our perspective, moving from a place of judgment to a place of curiosity. It's about recognizing that we are all flawed human beings, doing the best we can with the tools we have. The healing power of vulnerability, letting go of shame. Embracing vulnerability, both in our communication and in our lives, is a powerful act of courage. It requires us to let go of the need for perfection, to embrace our imperfections and allow ourselves to be seen, flaws and all. For years, I carried the weight of shame, convinced that my imperfections made me unworthy of love and belonging. but vulnerability taught me that true connection blossoms in the fertile ground of imperfection. It's in our shared humanity, in our willingness to be seen as we truly are, that we forge deep and meaningful bonds. Building stronger bonds. Authenticity in relationships. Vulnerability is the lifeblood of authentic connection. When we show up authentically without pretense or facade, we invite others to do the same. We create a space for genuine intimacy, where hearts can connect without fear of judgment. Imagine a relationship where you can express your fears and insecurities without the fear of being ridiculed. Imagine a friendship where you can celebrate your successes and failures with equal enthusiasm. This is the power of vulnerability in relationships. It allows us to be seen, heard, and loved for who we truly are. Embracing imperfection, the courage to be seen. Choosing vulnerability is a daily practice, a conscious decision to show up authentically in a world that often rewards perfection and conformity. It's about embracing our imperfections, our quirks, our vulnerabilities, and recognizing that these are not flaws to be hidden, but rather the threads that weave the tapestry of our unique and beautiful selves. It's about letting go of the need to control, to manipulate, to present a carefully curated version of ourselves to the world. It's about trusting that our authentic selves are worthy of love and belonging, even when we stumble, fall, and make mistakes along the way. The freedom of authenticity, living a life unmasked. Living a life of vulnerability is not for the faint of heart. It requires courage, resilience, and a willingness to be uncomfortable. But the rewards are immeasurable. When we choose to show up authentically, we step into our power. We free ourselves from the shackles of shame and self-doubt. We open ourselves up to a world of possibilities, to deeper connections, and to a life lived with purpose and passion. Imagine a life where you no longer feel the need to hide, to pretend, to conform. Imagine the freedom of expressing your truth without fear, of pursuing your passions with unwavering conviction. This is the promise of vulnerability, the invitation to live a life unmasked, to embrace the fullness of who we are, imperfections and all. A call to courage, stepping into our true selves. The journey towards vulnerability is not a destination, but a lifelong adventure. It's a continuous process of self-discovery, of unlearning old patterns, and of embracing the messy, imperfect beauty of being human. It's a call to courage, an invitation to step into the fullness of who we are meant to be. It's about embracing our authentic selves, with all our imperfections and vulnerabilities, and sharing that truth with the world. It's about recognizing that in our vulnerability lies our strength, our beauty, and our capacity for deep and meaningful connection. So let us choose courage over comfort, authenticity over perfection, and step boldly into the light of our own